Howdy, y'all. It's Carrie's Raven. I hope y'all had a very good New Year's. My New Year's was great. Just spent some time with my family, cooked a little bit, and just relaxed, really. But I'm back, and we have some haunted building stories for you today. Number one, with Halloween around the corner, I thought, what better time to share a few personal experiences on here. So here it goes. This incident goes a long way back to the early 90s. I was 16 years old then. Interestingly enough, it occurred in what seemed to be the most likely unlikely of places, in a church somewhere in Betaling, Jaya. I attended one of these teen church camps, which usually lasted for 3 days or so. There had been a couple of activities arranged leading up to the last day, where we all had different tasks assigned. Me, I was responsible for controlling the light switches and had a set of cues to follow for the night event. The catch was this. I was to do it from a small room behind the church, which housed the circuits. Unfortunately, it was only accessible from outside the church. In order to get to it, you had to exit the main church hall to the side and into a long, dark alleyway, dark at night that is, flanked by the church and another small building. A short staircase then led up to a small veranda outside the room. The small room had only one door, and the opposite wall had windows looking out into the church stage, so one can see what was happening. Anyway, to make a long story short, things didn't go as planned. You know how it is with the generation clashes. Some holler than thou prick in his mid-20s decided to take it upon himself to play with the switches in the main hall as he saw fit, without informing me. And people wonder why I have problems with authority figures. Little did they know, there was a very, very angry person in that room then. Me. And then it happened. A heavy kind of breathing. It didn't hit me at first. I attributed it to the speaker on stage having some breathing problems since his speech was pretty much amplified thanks to the amplifiers around the hall. It continued for a while, and when it didn't go away, I went to the window and pricked my ear to the nearest sound system in the room. Still, I couldn't figure out the source of the breathing. It was puzzling. Since the speech was really loud, I was getting really bothered by the breathing. I decided to exit the room to the small veranda outside. Halfway to the door, I got creeped out. Anyone knows that any time you move further away from a noise source, the noise starts to fade out. Not this breathing. It's stuck with the same decimal. And what's worse, this time it felt more like if someone was next to me breathing heavily into my ear. There was no one visible around. When the realization hit me that something was seriously out of place, I started to shake. Here was this heavy breathing next to me, and I had a million things bombarding my mind on what to do. My instinct, I mumbled a prayer, and it was only then that the heavy breathing stopped. A sense of relief overwhelmed me as I made my final steps to the door, out into the veranda. But it was too much. I practically broke down by the stairs. After what seemed like an eternity, I heard footsteps. I don't know, but I think someone heard me wailing. A couple of my friends came over to the back room and asked me what happened. I was in a pretty disturbed state then. They accompanied me off the place before I explained what happened. I found out that my supernatural experience was only one of several that other people have reported happened in the church. Explanation-wise, I got the typical satanic forces attacking the church. Me, I can only say it was not ordinary or normal, and certainly not a very pleasant experience. Anyways, years later, I befriended a clairvoyant. One topic led to another, and we started talking about my above past experience. She told me a vision came to her of an old man who was very angry. For what reason, she had no idea. Me, I just think maybe he wanted to share his anger with, well, another angry person around the corner. Like attracts like, doesn't it? Number 2, I am a CNA, which means that I assist nurses and do all the patient's diaper changes, take vitals, showers, baths, linen changes, bring them food, assist them in the bathroom, and of course, when they unfortunately pass away, I prepare the body to be seen by patients' family members or to be sent to a funeral home. Scratches on the window. One day I showed up to shift and we had a patient pass away right before shift change. So it became my job to go into the room to start cleaning up and getting the room and patient ready to be seen by family. The nurse I was working with was native, and she explained to me that in her culture, you open a window to let the spirit out to bring them peace. She then went over to the window and opened it up. We said a prayer, and in the middle of this prayer, we heard a scream from the room right next door. We ran over to the room with our middle-aged patient explaining to us she was scared. We asked why. She told us that there was scratches and bangs on the windows, like someone was trying to get inside. We were completely spooked, but explained to the woman everything was going to be okay. I brought her some snacks and coffee and comforted her before going back into the deceased patient's room to finish getting the body ready to be seen by family. The linen closet. I was really busy one day getting patients showered and bathed and changing sheets. I went to the linen closet to get more sheets to make a bed, which was a very small room. I am really used to people coming into the room to grab things while I'm already in there because we're all busy. So it didn't surprise me when someone came in to grab sheets. I was holding the door with my foot while grabbing sheets out of the linen closet, so I assumed that I was very much in the way of this person that was coming to get sheets as well. I felt this person's presence clear as day. I felt them so close that their breath was on my neck. I turned and said, "Oops, I'm sorry," and realized that no one was there. I was not spooked at all. This didn't feel like a negative spirit. The lady in the bathroom. We had a very sweet lady with a cardiac issue admitted to the floor, and she was independent, other than needing assistance with getting her IV pole into the bathroom with her. So I assisted her into the bathroom and shut the door to give her privacy, of course, then left the room and waited for her to call for assistance. She didn't call after about 10 minutes, so I went to go check on her to make sure she was doing okay. When I entered the room, I heard a yelp from the bathroom, so I ran and threw open the door. She was leaning over unconscious, so I hit the code blue from the room. She unfortunately ended up passing away from this event. The next day, the nurse I had worked with her and I were outside the room talking when we heard a woman scream from that room. We ran into the room and asked if the patient there was okay. They looked at us like we were crazy when we explained that we had heard a scream. We were completely spooked. A few days later, I was walking in the hall and heard a scream once again. I went running into that room and another nurse was already in the room when I got there. We had both responded to the scream, and we had realized that no one was there. We ended up calling a priest to bless the room. Having spiritual experiences in hospitals is not uncommon. I have worked in the healthcare field for quite a while in different locations, and I have had experiences everywhere I've worked. I feel a close connection to the people that pass away and to the people I care for. I pray every day that we can all have peace when we're through. Number 3. My mom has her own personal office at work. Her chair is right underneath the vent. For a while now, she's been hearing dripping noises coming from the vent. She asked her coworkers about it, and they all say they can't hear anything. A couple days ago, one of her coworkers went into her office to tell her that one of their members had passed away. She got up from her chair and walked over to her coworker. The second that he said he died, water started pouring down from the vent all over my mom's chair. The whole thing was soaked, and her coworker were in complete shock. Was this a paranormal experience or just coincidence? Number 4. When I was young, around 10 to 11, I was in my dad's classroom helping organize his students' computers and clean the classroom. I was putting computers back into a cart, walking back and forth for the same location. Perpendicular to the cart was a small library with a clipboard for checking out books, as well as a string tied to a pen by the clipboard for convenience. In front of the string and clipboard was a singular chair. On one of the walks away from the cart, I passed the chair and saw an apparition sitting in the chair. It was a stereotypical ghost girl, with long black hair covering her face and long white gown. The chair was completely empty, and once I turned back to look at her, she was gone, and the string behind the chair was swinging back and forth. I was smart and a rational kid, and to this day I believe my experience to be truthful, and I have heard many similar stories regarding a girl with long black hair and long white gown appearing a full-bodied apparition. Is the girl known as a certain type of entity? Has anyone else had similar experiences? I'm genuinely curious as to why I heard so many stories of this same experience. Number 5. I worked at a funeral home in South Florida for around 8 months. I've never had an anomalous experience involving apparitions, spirits, or anything of that nature. When I first started working there, my boss and other coworkers had told me of their paranormal experiences at the funeral home. One of my coworkers, a Brazilian woman in her 60s, had to sleep at the home one night during a tropical storm. She was woken up in the night by the sound of footsteps. I know it sounds a little cliche, but this is how she told the story. She was sleeping in the kitchen, where we had a television screen which displays the view from several cameras throughout the home. In one of the cameras, she could see a woman standing in the middle of the room by the entrance. Thinking someone had broken in, she ran to the entrance to find no one there. Also, the entire building has a security system, an alarm that would go off if anyone had opened the door or window. This story freaked me out, but it wasn't until the day we were cleaning up after a funeral for an elderly woman when things got weird. It was just me and the Brazilian coworker in the building at around 8 p.m. As we were cleaning the chapel where the decedent's casket was, we both heard a woman humming and speaking. It was a deep ambient sound, almost like it came from right above our heads. I felt it all throughout my body and freaked out, to say the least. I worked here for another few months, ended up leaving because the pay was dismal, and found another job. I'd work there again, and I found the situation intriguing, but scary as heck. Number 6. I used to work at a hotel as a receptionist. It's a 3-star hotel, and I worked from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. since I literally had nothing to do besides wait for people. I used to bring my laptop and watch the movies on mute. One day I didn't bring my laptop and I was so bored, so I started scrolling on Instagram. I just wanted to mention that I never ever searched or looked at paranormal stuff back then. Then I found a post that said, "Did you know? Ghosts will try to communicate with you with strong odors or smells like cologne or burning." While reading this, it started smelling like the whole town was on fire. Fucking went out in the road with a big ass flashlight. I had to check the beach if anyone would be at the beach at night, and if I did, I'd kick them out. And nothing. No sight of a fire or anything. Went back to the reception table, went to the back door to get some air. The back door led to the back side of the hotel and had rooms. Once I went outside, to my left there was a big, big house with sheets and clothes hanging on the roof. I saw a lady going out to the roof. She literally smelt the air and went back in. and once she went back in a minute or two later, the smell stopped. Checked my phone, and the post was still there. Nothing on the news about a fire or anything in the morning. Weirdest experience ever working at night. Number 7. So basically, the story starts out when I was a kid. Multiple times I have seen what I assumed to be ghosts. Once at a theme park, I saw one on the wave pool, the very top of the wall on the far side. I also saw one at my middle school when I was racing my friend down the hall. I had looked over and seen a man who looked like he was in his teens, wearing similar clothes to the era of the Industrial Revolution. Another time, I had seen one on the bridge over the river near my house, and it looked like he was about to jump off. The weird thing about the encounter is that the entire car went quiet when I had seen them. Nobody had said anything, but I had clearly seen him, and there were about 6 kids and 2 adults in the car, so it was very odd that it had just went suddenly quiet. Now that I am older and I have encountered a few spirits, but more recently I have encountered ones that seem darker in nature. The first I encountered in my old apartment I lived in about a year and a half ago. I had one of the sleep paralysis dreams. I don't really ever have nightmares, and if I do, they are very few and far between. But this night I had a dream of some sort of entity walking down the stairs behind my closet door. There were no actual stairs behind my closet door, but in my dream there was. I was trying to open my eyes, but I was frozen. Just as the entity opened the door, I woke up. It had me shaken so much that I could not go back to sleep. Someone in the trailer park I had lived in died a couple months previous and was left there for about a month until someone did a welfare check. It is a mobile home, an old one from the 70s. It had been here a long time with many different owners. We moved in. One thing that I dislike about the place is that the closets have mirror doors. But because I'm renting, if I can't do anything about them, when we first moved in, I had felt a little weird about the place, so I blessed my bedroom in a prayer over it. Not long after that, we started hearing weird noises. I have a daughter who is young and was about 5 months at the time. We heard her crying and went to go check up on her, but she'd been fast asleep. Other times we'd hear moans like a woman was crying in the same area. My daughter's room is on the other side of the house. We've heard knocking on the windows and all sorts of things. It has seemed to go away, though only once in a while I'll hear a weird noise or hear a baby cry and my daughter will be fast asleep. Just wondering if anyone else has any thoughts on this. Should I record my happenings? I do have a video camera that I could set up. Update. So, I guess the ghosts don't like to be talked about. They hate gossip, because today they came back all more aggressive than before. I heard my own voice this morning, and then a few minutes, another baby cry, 100% not my daughter's, as stated in the comment. She was right in front of me. They went silent for a bit until my boyfriend came home. Then we heard maiming again, which was followed a few minutes later by knocking. Sounded like my daughter's bedroom, where most of the activity comes from. I'm going to make another part so I can share the video, because I don't think I can do it on this one. That's not the first time I've heard knocking on a window. Today was the most active we've seen in like 2 months. It's just really creepy. Well, those are the end of the stories today. I'm guessing I will see y'all on Thursday. I hope y'all have a great day. Remember, it's scary out there. I love y'all so much. Please like and subscribe.
infinities. I see the world through ice covered in